Hello everyone, welcome back to the session number 2, that is module number 2 about the circular economy, paving the way for clean energy and waste recycling, which is divided into two parts. Now I am discussing about the part 1. So this is the module number 2 in the course Sustainability for Future Generations, Concepts, Technologies and Global Thesis. So myself Dr. P. Swaminagaratnagiri, Associate Professor, Department of Civil Engineering, SR University, Warangal. So this is the outline of the session is clearly how we will learn about the what could be the circular economy and what is the importance of the circular economy in sustainability prospects, and we'll discuss about the difference between the linear economy and the circular economy. Then we will go with the core principles of circular economy, global waste scenario and clean energy overview. And next we'll discuss about the circular economy and carbon food reduction. Then we'll go for this waste to energy and biomass utilization. This will be covered in the part number 2. And we'll discuss about the recycling technologies for the adoption of the circular economy and what could be the benefits and limitations in the circular economy boost up, as well as we'll discuss some case studies and what could be the future scope for this circular economy based sustainability. So let's see that as we know that several times we discuss about the circular means clearly state that wherever the product was started to manufacture, that product is going to be rebacked in a waste manner. That waste would be utilized and it should be recyclable, or else at the end of the lifetime of the product it can be possible to recycle. That was the main importance of integrating the circular economy rather than going for linear economy model. So you see here, circular economy is the closed loop and sustainable way when compared with the linear economy model, and the resources are continuously reused and recycled, so which will follows the closed loop system. That was the main importance for when you start about the circular economy, where the recycling of the end of the life of the it will be given the treatment. Then we'll go for the design reforms and we'll reduce the utilization of the material, that is the production and the retransformation. Then with the transport and distribution in a proper way. Then we'll go for the reuse is possibilities, consumption, reuse and repair if possible. Then you go for the collectioning of the waste, and where you are going to again start it off recycling. So then you will go for the again modeling about this product. That was the main intention of circular economy, is to reduce the utilization of these materials. So then it will follow the closed loop rather than going for the open loop. That will discuss about how the linear models also will be there in the in future in past way, where several industries was adopted the linear model. Then we come off the circular recycle model. Then after we'll come up the circular model. In between there is a recycle model also, where the people of think about the recycling aspect. But apart from that, there is a circular economy will be boost up of several ways of the reducing of the raw materials. So which will promote the or minimizing the waste generation, and we'll focus about whatever the waste are created. We think about how we can reuse it and recycle it, and we can get the benefit of the product. So which will promote the repair as well as the reuse and remanufacturing. So this is the main concept of this one. So then we have the ensure long-term sustainability and resource efficiency. All these parameters will help us to regain the how effectively we can go with the long-term sustainability and reuse efficiency. Then we have the linear economy model, which is going to be clearly state that wherever the resources are used, once it in a discarded, so then we are supposed to think about the follows one way, where flow will take, make, dispose, and we'll get the large amount of waste, which is going to be cannot be think about the recycling or reuse or recycle. So that was the main thing we are supposed to concentrate here. You can see here. So linear economy is a open loop. So that means we never think about the waste intensive. So resources are used once, then it can be discarded. That means we won't think about the how it can be useful, whether it is can be recyclable or not. It's a one flow, it is a one way traffic. So take the product, take the raw material, make it and dispose it. So there is no model of recycling or reuse or repair or anything else. So large amount of waste was generated in this point of linear model, so leads to resource depletion, and always the pollution of the most amount of waste was thrown away in the lands. So there will be landscapes and there will be a problem with the pollution. Non-degradable materials will be there. So there is not suitable in this model will not suitable for the long run of the economic growth. So that's the reason why you see the infinite resource will be available here. Then your resource extraction happen. Then the production was started and the distribution of this product and will be the consumption of by the households. Then distribute. Then you will get the dispose in a either to the open source or somewhere at the municipality level. So there will be infinite to regenerative capacity of the earth cannot be done. So take, make and dispose. This is the model of linear model, which is the failure model. We cannot adapt for the sustainability aspects. We have to think about the circular model. Circular model will help us to environmental impact compromise. You see here, circular economy will help us to reduces the pollution and landfill waste also, where we not think about the waste to be dumped somewhere places, and lowers the carbon emissions, which you are not going for more amount of thinking about the product manufacturing. Conserve the natural resources, that is one of the best way. Whereas the linear economy model, which will cause the environmental degradation, more amount of waste accumulation, it will lead to the resource depletion, where we further depends upon earth overshoot, they will come into the picture. So that's the reason why this environmental impact comparison, when you compare with the circular model as a linear economy model, circular can always to keep us more in a sustainably manner, and we encourage us to boost up the more amount of economic benefits, like how you can see here. So whenever you talk about the circular economy, it will help us to get the product, promote the cost saving through reuse. So reuse is one of the best method how we can reuse the waste generated from the industries or any other construction industry, or maybe chemical industry, it may be any other products manufacturing industry. So it will create the new job opportunity as well as the new industries of the waste to wealth generation and encourage the innovation in the green industries. That was the main advantage of going for a circular economy model, where we compared the economic benefits with the linear economy model. Only having the higher amount of production and disposal cost will be higher. So that was the main drawback is of because of this high production may be there, but disposal cost should be incorporated. Then there is a loss of valuable materials when the earth crust. So this is also not good for the sustainable benefit, and we have the less economical and sustainable growth in the longer time period, because we are losing of lost of material. So that is not a good for the model which is to be suited for the sustainability developments in industrial growth, or it may be urbanization, or it may be any community engagement. So always we have to prefer for going for a circular economy model rather than going for linear economy model. So now we will discuss about the why it is important and what is the need of applying the circular economy in every industry. So it is clearly seen this slide, where what's the importance in the current environmental context. Why? Because this is environmental point of view, how we are going to relate this circular economy. You see here, these the picture is clearly gives increasing of the global warming potential, that is increasing of the greenhouse gas emissions into the atmosphere, which will go on for the contamination of the biodiversity and pollution in the air and water soil. And we can see in the right side image where you conserve of the natural resources, and we are going to reduce the waste pollution, and we are going renewable energy source system within solar, wind turbines. There we are infrastructure is the net zero energy buildings. Then our earth planet, whatever the triple bottom line, we are talking about triple bottom line: planet, profit, people. So these three triple bottom lines will be ensured only with when you follow the right side module, when it is going to be less amount of global warming potential, and you reduce the waste pollution as well as the supports the health of the human being, and you will get the better health of the benefits. So that's why we have to depend upon the circular economy model rather than going for linear economy model. So rising the environmental pressure, so most of the cases we are supposed to have this rising environmental pressure. What is the rising environmental pressure? You see here, there will be a climate change, resource depletion, as well as the pollution, as well as the biodiversity loss. Only because of what? Because of environmental pressure, what we created by the urbanization or industrialization. So next we have think about the growing of waste generation. So we as we know that because of large amount of urbanization and consumption patterns are leading to alarming us to the how we can deal with the waste man. That is one more session I will discuss about how to manage this waste and you get the better amount of this waste. That is will be the session number 3 or 4. We will go further. So now we'll think about how this growing waste generation should be secured in a better way to convert it as the waste to energy principle. That was the second part. We will discuss about the waste recycling. Then we have resource scarcity. Yes, do we heard about the earth overshoot day? So every earth will generated whatever the resource required for 1 year, it will be generated. But unfortunately, due to the greedy of peoples, we are using or completing by month of maybe the August. As we know the statistics, we will discuss about earth overshoot day one session where clearly says that how these resources are completing by the end of the month of August. So that should be go for the December. That was the main reason. Within 6 months or 8 months, we are consuming whatever the materials required for the next generations. So that was the main point we are supposed to think, and we have to depend upon the integrating of the sustainability aspect, especially to the circular economy model. Next, we have high carbon emissions because of linear systems which are adopted are energy intensive. That means only depends upon the energy consumption they will work out and the contribute to heavy to the greenhouse gases. That is the main drawback of going for high carbon emissions. Then why we are supposed to think of generating? So we have to think for the solutions of these. That is why we need to develop a sustainable solution. That the shift is needed from linear economy model. It's already shifted, but still some of the industries are not yet started to think about the circular economy model. Definitely the government governance policy should be integrated. Then all the industries should be focused on developing of circular economy model rather than releasing of the all waste to the open lands or open source. We have to think about the recycling of this waste product. So then we have the a perfect solutions to get into essential to protect our planet, and we will be focused on triple bottom line, three pillars: economy, environment, and social economics issues. So that was the main agenda of going for integrating of this circular economy. So then we will be focusing about the why. Why we should question ourselves why circular economy is needed at this point. So why? Because when you think about the why, we have to think stating that yes, we want to be the sustainability point of view. We have to integrate in each and every characteristics in a ongoing process. You see here, we have to supposed to eliminate the waste which are generated, keep materials in use for as long as possible, turning the waste into valuable resources. You should not throw it in the open lands or thing. You have to think about how to eliminate the waste which are generating from the manufacturing unit. Then we have to think about how to save the energy consumption for the using of recycling and materials significantly lower the energy consumption. This is the first of the best point we are supposed to think about the saves energy instead of manufacturing of new products, and we can recycle and reuse it the same product. Then definitely it will be helpful. For example, in our civil engineering, most of the materials are we are thinking about the recycling of, and we are thinking about more manufacturing of new low carbon cements and low carbon concretes and developing of new integrations, AI integration, 3D printed concretes. So because all these things will be integrated and make a good amount of the model. For example, in the aggregates point of view, are using our recycling aggregates. In point of cement, we are using of no cement and low grade cements. All these things are going to be come together because as we know 1 ton of cement manufacture requires one it will replace 1 ton of CO2. That is the more amount of concern about the civil engineers about the cement manufacture. That's why there is a cut down of huge amount where LC3 cement was integrated. Nowadays LC3 is 50% of the cement manufacturing was cut down because of the LC3 consumption, that is called as low calcium clay cement based. So that was the one of the best example of dealing with the crises which are focused by the high amount of CO2 emissions and devise the economic value. Also, it will reduce the cost and will create the new jobs for integrating of new aspects and new technologies. Definitely stimulate the innovation and the green industries will be developed altogether, which will be help us to ensure a long term resilience. So what is resilience here? So we are building the capacity buildings or capacity added values in various industries. So it will create the low carbon economy that benefits for the current generation as well as the future generations. So that is the one of the best way how we are going to deal with the um, circular economy model. This is the reason why circular economy is not an option to everyone. So everyone should strive hard to get into the circular economy. It is necessary for cleaner, smarter, and more sustainable future. That was the quotation which was clearly mentioned that it should be a cleaner, smarter and more sustainable future will be given by the circular economy model only. So it is requested will be how to integrate each and every industry should be integrated with the circular economy model. Then we come to now we will be think about what is the concept of circular economy. This is a sustainable system mind aimed for minimizing the waste and maximizing the resources use. That is simply speaking, reduce, reuse, and recycle it. So we are supposed to think about minimizing the waste and maximizing the resource usage. It's a lifetime. Whenever the lifetime we talk about it's until it's the dead life. So there onwards, again you have to think about recycling the product. That's the reason why nowadays all are developing a recyclable products rather than use and throw products. So focus on keeping materials in use as long as possible. So there are small core principles involved in the circular economy, that is triple R formula. What is triple R? It's like reduce, reuse, and recycle. So whenever you want to reduce the material manufacturing, you have to think about the minimizing the use of raw materials from the earth crust and natural resources, avoid unnecessary consumption and waste generations coming from the product development, and reuse if possible. Try to reuse the first one is the reduce, that is the triple R formula. First one is the reduce. Next, use of reuse formula. So whether possibility you can reuse the same material for the other manufacturing unit or not with significant processing of that process of waste management. Then extend the product of the life by using of quality material integration, so which will help us to reuse that material by small repairs. Then if not, then you go for the convert the waste materials into new products if possibly. Then it is called as a recycling model. Then reduce the needs of virgin resources which will be come from the earth crust. That was the main agenda of we have to focus a sustainability system aimed for minimizing the waste as well as the maximizing the resource uses. And we have principles of economy is the triple R formula. Every time I'm taking triple bottom line, three pillars as well as the triple R formula, because every time whenever you talk about the sustainability, we have to talk about the three aspects. Three, maybe a three pillars, maybe a triple bottom line, maybe a triple R in circular economy. In future, when I discuss the sessions, we will come again. Three will become. So that is a three is one of the best way to come across, and we are going to recycle in all the aspects. So that was the main agenda. You focus on how to get the integrating of the social economic benefits. Why is the social environment and economy, these are the important aspects which will be comes with the triple bottom line, people, profit, and planet. So you have to save all these three peoples. Then we have to think about the how to integrate the circular economy model into the models each and every aspect. So then next come to the circular economy is a closed loop system, as I earlier stated clearly. So most of the cases, what is the closed loop system? So it will accumulate, circulate the continuous life cycle of the material. So it has clearly see here. So it is a continuous cycle that eliminates the concept of end of life of the product. It keeps resource in use as long as possible. That is the meaning of closed loop system. First cycle is a continuous cycle. So we have to think about the designing for the sustainability. Once the end of the life is called, so eliminate the concept of end of life in the model, keeping the products in a material and improve its productivity usage, produce use for resource efficiency. Then we have to think about the energy, water, and raw materials reduction, whether wherever the possibilities are there. Extend the product life through responsible usage. Then we have to think about the conserve these critical resources, reduce the depends upon finite natural resources. Then you go for the product development. Once it is done, you have to think about the balancing of economic growth for religion sustainable growth, where you think about the repair and reuse if possible. The life was going to be done within 10 years if possible. If repair it and reuse it, and then we'll be get refurbish it and remanufacture it and extend its lifespan to at least for 5 years. Though definitely the resource efficiency and sustainability is come to the picture, optimizing the usage of energy, water, as well as the raw materials, reducing on the environmental impact. Then after, if it is not possible, then we will go for the recycling and recover materials of energy. Then we'll continuously use these raw materials, again we will be extracting. Then we'll think about the designing for sustainability aspect. Then again the product will be manufactured. That is called as the closed loop system in the circular economy model. That will be how we can enhance the resource efficiency, reduction of the raw material utilization, and we enhance the sustainability aspects by implementing of circular economy model to pay for getting the better clean energy model which will becomes. So reduction of the environmental impacts, supports the long-term economical balance and as well as the economic growth. So these are the important points when you talk about the circular economy closed loop system. So if we have this closed loop system in every industry, if we adopt this type sort of, nothing will be going to be wasted, everything will be reused or recycled or regenerate or reproduct or remanufacturing. Anything is you do it triple r, definitely it will be helpful for the development of the sustainability aspects. So then we will think about small difference between the what is linear economy and what is the circular economy. A small thing, it is a take, make, use and dispose, whereas in circular economy you clearly see that it will reduce, reuse, repair, remanufacture, recycle, and recover. I thought about the triple R formula up to here, but once you did reduce, reuse, and recycle, then you go for the remanufacturing of possible, recycle or recover the material, raw materials if possible. That was the main agenda of this six triple R's. One triple R is product development, one triple R is thinking about the circular economy model. So when you compare these two models, linear economy model is a one-way flow only. So it is not good. It should be a closed and circular model for this circular economy. So whereas resource is very intensive, where resource is efficient way point of view. Then we have high waste generations are there here in linear economy model. Whereas in Whereas in the circular economy model, it is the minimal waste only. So this will be a more wastage will be generated and short product life of the product. Whereas the extended product of the life because of we are thinking for the circular economy model, reuse, recycle, and repair. Environmental burden will be more on this linear economy model. Whereas in circular economy model, we regenerative approach will be enhances. So that is the things where we when you compare with the linear economy model and the circular economy model, so always we have to best suited model is the circular economy model to get into sustainability aspects, sustainability development. So next we have this uh, scenario in India. So what sort of waste are generated? So how we are going to be deal with this? Whenever you think about the circular economy model, so think about the what sort of current scenario waste generation in India. One is the municipal solid waste, the highly threatened of large amount of land is contaminated because of the non-degradable materials due to the households usage day to day. Municipal solid waste, it will generate from the households, markets as well as the institutions, includes the organic waste, plastics, paper, metals, and major contributors to the urban pollution is one of the major threat nowadays is the municipal solid waste. Next was the industrial waste. We have to think about the produce of manufacturing of process, and then we have to think about the processing industries where the continuous hazards and non-hazard materials are dumped into the various open source system which can contaminating the soil as well as the water. So that is the major drawback of this industrial waste. So we have to think about how to reduce this municipal solid waste, or we have to think about how to manage this waste. We in detail will discuss in the solid waste management also this session. So now this is the main threat to this scenario in India is this one. Then we have the e-waste also, electronic e-waste goods which are going to be dumped in the large amount of areas accumulated because of e-waste is one of the threatening to the global environmental. Why? Because they cannot be thrown into the open space because their heavy metals are incorporated. We have to think in a better way how we are going to discard this electron use of this discard electronic device into the various aspects of manufacturing rapidly increasing due to the technology growth. So because of more amount of technology, more amount of smart energy, smart IoT is coming to this one, these printed circuit boards are increasing day by day, so which contains not only a most amount of toxic materials are will be depend like lead and mercury. Even though you have to segregate this material, large amount of energy is situated to sort out. Then we have the construction demolished waste. Already so much of innovation was done already. Construction demolished waste already they are utilizing in various aspects in the construction. So no more of thinking about the recycling materials nowadays in concrete or as bricks or woods or metals, whatever the things they are doing, we are recycling every product. As you see, this highly recyclable product is the steel only. Wherever the old steel has happened, immediately we are going for the selling about the old steel and we are getting manufacturing of recyclable materials from that. So high potential and reuse is there in the construction demolition waste only that we are already adapted. Still, there is a lot of chances are there to integrate small scale industry to get into the next level. So next one is about the statistics in India. So what sort of things we will be thinking about? So India generates around 150,000 tons plus tons per day of municipal solid waste. You think about the whole generates the 2 billion tons. He has clearly mentioned in the statistics. 2.01 million tons of municipal solid was generally annually it was generating global aspects. So how we are going to get in the rejection? How we are going to convert it this was into the good amount of energy? So unless we are not thinking about the urgent action is taken, global wastage will be increasing about 70%, where 3.5 billion tons by 2050. If it is crosses, then definitely we will be facing of a high amount of global warming potential as well as the emissions of gases, CO2 gases into the atmosphere will lead to the high respiratory problems. You see here, whenever you think about the municipal solid waste, 4% of the metals are there, whereas the glass having the 5% of glasses, which are old glasses are broken glasses are thrown into the municipal solid waste only. Then we have the plastic is the 12%. Nowadays were reduced, but still 12% is a huge impact. And paper and cupboard is the 17%. They are thinking about the recycling of these products in a better way. Then you have the food and greenery wastage is very high. So this is the most contaminated material where we are think about is generating of what food green. So how we are going to utilize this in a better way? So we have to think what are the sources will be incorporated. Most of the cases you see the country wise, East Asia of the Pacific you have the 468 million tons, Europe and Central Asia is 392 million tons, South Asia is about the 334 millions. As I clearly stated in that, I will give the case study about the circular model. This is one of the case studies stating that how the different Asian countries are giving more amount of generation for annually. North America is 289, whereas Latin America and Caribbean is about 231. Sahara African is 174. Middle East and North Africa is 124 million tons. So how these regions are divided and they are generating more, they have to, these are the highly required. We have to think about how we can utilize and make over the best product of utilizing of circular economy model. You see here only about 30 to 40% scientifically treated. So remaining was e-waste generation exceeds only 1 million tons. How we are going to treat with this? So we have to think about this e-waste generation and the circular economy model in the printed circuit boards. C&D waste accounts for 20 to 30% of solid waste, but it is treated. So what are the challenges will be incorporated in the waste management is what lack of segregation at the stores sources point, and inadequate recycling infrastructure, where we are not thinking about what sort of infrastructure is needed for say, recycling this amount of the waste generation. Depends upon the landfills and open dumping is the one of the important parameter where you the serious concern was given here, and limited public awareness and participation is required here. So more amount of awareness program should be conducted, and informal sector dominance without prayer proper regulation bodies governance is not there by the government. So a lot of governance should be taken care, and we have to treat the large amount of in Hyderabad itself. More amount of municipal solid waste was dumped at some point, and they are burning it out. Local people are very hygienic, and they are unable to sustain in the local community. That is the main reason why you have to think about the paving to the clean energy, and you have to utilize this waste generation to get in the higher amount of the energy. What is the clean energy? When you talk about the clean energy, so most of the cases clean energy will comes from the renewable and low carbon energy sources. Renewable means what? As we know that solar energy and wind energy. So types of clean energies we have: hydrothermal energy, geothermal energy, hydro energy, wind energy. So all we know that solar energy comes from the sunlight using of solar panels, and they're generating from the heat to the electricity, then widely used in the rooftops or solar farms. So which will be help us to reduce the non depending upon non-renewable resources, enhance this natural resources. So produce little or environmental pollution, but only for the manufacturing of conversion process, but sustainable and eco-friendly material which will alter the fossil fuels in future. So wind energy is about production of wind turbines. For manufacturing of wind turbines only that high amount of emissions may be happen, but once it is manufactured, lot of energy can be created from the high tidal waves, high wind regions, and the coastal regions, as well as the high amount of high altitudes. So then is the biomass energy. As we know, the agriculture waste which is converted into the high amount of biomass, then it will be derived from the organic waste, agriculture waste, food, animal waste, convert the waste into biogas or biofuel. These are some of the important parameters where we think about the clean energy. Then we have the hydropower energy, which will generate from the flowing or stored water from the from the dams and reservoirs. So one of the oldest renewable energy source, but still it is very costly and depends upon the water source. But apart from this one, we can go for the geothermal energy also, where the heat was revolution from the head crust, we can convert into the heat to the energy, heat energy to the electricity, like electrical energy. So consumption of all these clean energy is one of the important way to reduction about the circular economy to be incorporate, and we have to think about the regenerating, recycling, and remanufacturing. So why all these things were discussed? Because of the we have reduction of the carbon foot analysis. When you think about the carbon foot, you see here reduction of the carbon at home. So how to integrate at home? Replace with the old less efficient appliance like fridge, refrigerators, AC, all these things with the new efficient 5-star rating Energy Star programs. So that will help us to boost up the low energy efficiency. Then we have the purchase of clean energy rather than depends upon the non-fossil energy, that is wind turbines. If we are located at that point, we can go for the wind turbine. Then we have the solar panels nowadays. So that was the one of the best way to integrate this one to the reduction of the carbon emissions. Then purchase the smart appliances rather than like, as I told, IoT based sensors can be integrated into the overhead tanks. That will help us to lower down our water scarcity, water development. Use of electrical vehicles and public transport, it will be help us to cut down the fossil fuels like crude oils. So that will help us to boost up the economy. So wherever the possible, use the bicycles if it is a public transport system, train transportation, or EV vehicles. This is one best way to reduce the carbon emissions footprint. So minimize the depends upon the fossil fuels like coal and petroleum, lowers the air pollution, improves the public health, supports the climate change mitigation, promotes the sustainable energy, decrease energy related to environmental degradation. So altogether, it will encourage the economic friendly technologies, helps to achieve national and global targets. So that is the best way to importing of integrating of circular economy to reduce the carbon emissions or carbon footprint to the atmosphere. So that will help us to get the triple bottom line, always triple pillars, three pillars, triple bottom line, triple R. This is the formula for the circular economy. So this is the link between circular economy and the clean energy. Why we are talking about the clean energy? So we are integrating how the waste to energy principle will helps the circular economy boost up. You see here, whenever the converts the waste into electricity and heat, so then reduce the landfill waste and pollution and supports the renewable energy generation. So biomass utilization is one of the best factor for linking about circular economy to the clean energy. Why? Because organic waste which are coming from the agriculture, food and animal waste, we can circulate it and we produce the biogas or the biofuels. So it will provide a sustainable energy resource. You can see clearly here, whenever the waste is collected, then it will be used to the plant and segregated, and it will waste process, then you can convert into fuel as well as the gas as well as the electricity. It can be consumed to the households or otherwise the nearby industries. Whereas in agriculture crops residues, we can see here how we are going to use this one. We can convert into the biomass. Sewage also we can use the biomass. Municipal solid waste we can convert into biomass. Animal residue also we can convert into biomass. And industrial residue also possibility higher amount of sugarcane bagasse, as well as the forestry and corporate residues which are more leaves or which are organic waste which are coming from the forestries crops. It will help us to boost up the circular economy in all the aspects. Only thing is to adapt to the circular economy will be the best way to deal with the sustainability aspect, where the future generation will be people sustain with all the materials required. So these are some of the references are used for this part one session. So in this session, we have discussed about the circular economy, which will paving the way for clean energy. Then the second part will becomes over the waste recycling about for the circular economy aspects. So thank you for the viewers and the subscribers. Please like my video and you have the contact details. Thank you once again. Viewing, like the video, and we can integrate with each other, and sustainability point of view we can develop the different types of solutions for the industries. So my I have the contact details as well as my email ID as well as my LinkedIn profile. You can go it and you can follow me or you can send me the request. Thank you. Thank you. Jai Hind.